Good morning, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. It is me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Wednesday to talk the news of the past 24 hours from the wacky, wild, colorful world of professional wrestling. It's our good friend, comedian, Brian Wohl. Brian, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Morning, Nick. What an amazing week we've had in wrestling, huh?
Yeah, no kidding, man. I was in Vegas briefly last Thursday, but you were there Friday through, I'm guessing, Sunday. I'm guessing you slept there as well. Got to hit the media junket, got to go see SummerSlam. Before we kind of get into everything here today, talk to the people a little bit about what your experience was like being on the ground and getting to talk to all these superstars, Brian.
Well, WWE's PR team, led by Adam Hopkins, organized the junket, which was so well put together. We got to see, pretty much, all the champions of the Raw roster and have great chats with them. We also got to chat with Jinder Mahal, Doudrop. It was so great to chat with Doudrop. She's only been on the main roster for about 4 weeks. So it was cool to, get her perspective of what it's like going pretty much straight from NXT UK to the Raw roster. And that was really cool. Also one of the cool things was just getting to see what makes them laugh and, what everyone's passionate about when it comes to wrestling. Nikki Cross couldn't help but gush about Mick Foley and talk about how she just reread Have a Nice Day.
Great book.
Yeah, right? And it was just so fun to, kind of bond about how we all love wrestling. And sure. That was one of the coolest things. I've missed being around live crowds so much over the past year and a half. And to see the 45,000, although WWE handed me a thing that said it was 51,000. 45,000.
You think it was closer to 45? Is that what you're saying, Brian?
I think it was closer to 45. But if you counted all of us in the building, it might have been 51.
Okay.
But oh goodness, what an amazing experience. And just to hear the huge pops for, Becky Lynch's return, Edge's Brood entrance. Oh my God.
That Brood entrance was really dope. I was marking pretty hard for the Edge Brood entrance there. That was pretty cool.
It was a little disappointing because Allegiant Stadium did not allow any pyrotechnics. And so really the Brood entrance was really the only thing that they could do that involved some sort of fire.
Okay.
So that really stuck out. And oh my God, Brock Lesnar coming in and destroying everyone at the end.
Yeah, how was that watching him lay out Cena there at the end? Was that fun? I mean, it seems like that was probably the coolest thing to happen all night. We didn't even get to see it on TV.
It was so cool, and God, it just shows how much of a great sport John Cena is. He comes back to, get his butt whipped for 15 minutes and then get beat up again by Brock Lesnar afterwards and then say, "Thanks, crowd. Sorry I lost." And leave. Like, man, what a guy.
Yeah. Wow. Well, very cool. Yeah. And by the way, we already have some compliments. Samantha here. Great interviews, Brian. MCasp. PDO 64. Brian, we want more Jimmy Hart, please. I guess of all the big names you got to talk to, Jimmy Hart caught MCasp here.
I have one big regret about interviewing Jimmy Hart is I didn't get to talk to him about music and crafting music for superstars. And that's something that he's so good at. And so, Jimmy, if you're watching, gosh, let's chat music. I love hearing about wrestling music.
We'll bring back the Mouth of the South. I always welcome here on the show, Jimmy. Well, congratulations, Brian. Great content, great work. We're going to be rolling out in audio form more of Brian's interviews here over the coming weeks. You already got to hear a little bit of what I did on the ground here the past couple days with Triple H, and then Drew McIntyre was on Monday. But today on the show, something a little different, non-SummerSlam related interview. If you're listening to us in audio form, later on after the news, you're going to get to hear my conversation with Lacey Von Erich. You may not have seen her since she left TNA in 2010. It's been over a decade since she really left the public eye in regards to pro wrestling, but she is now financially invested in SWE down in Texas. She is the president of SWE. Von Erich is back to running Texas. And so we're going to find out why Lacey has made the decision to invest in this company, what her plans are for SWE, and just a little bit about like why she left pro wrestling. Why haven't we seen Lacey Von Erich here in the past 12 years? So you're going to hear Lacey later on if you're watching us in video form. Hopefully here, knock on wood, I'm uploading it here just as we finish because this morning was a little more hectic than I thought it would be. But Lacey Von Erich will come at you 1 p.m. Eastern over on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel. You go check it out in video form there if you want to see it that way. At the end of the show for everybody here today, video, audio-wise, we are going to dive into the mailbag. We're going to look at Edge, somebody we were just talking about, the possibility he might be headed towards Raw. But for now, let's get to it here. News you can use. News will leave a bruise. Big news here in the past 24 hours. Brian, Adam Cole, according to Fightful, his contract with NXT expires Friday. PWInsider.com saying he's considered to be done with the company unless he signs a new deal. And so for those that don't know, if you get terminated, you have a 30-day non-compete. If you let your contract expire, there is no non-compete. So hypothetically, I guess if his contract expired like the morning of Friday, we could follow up CM Punk's AEW Rampage debut with Adam Cole debuting on Rampage this Friday. And what a thing a Rampage would become if it becomes the spot for AEW to start rolling out all of its big news signees. I already heard this morning about 2 other ones that could be on the way that I'm trying to verify right now. So,
oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I don't see. I feel like Adam Cole has done everything he can in NXT, and unless WWE presented him with a really great offer for coming to Raw or SmackDown, I just don't see Adam staying with WWE. I would love to see him show up on Rampage, and I'd love to see what Adam Cole can do away from WWE now that his stock has risen so much globally.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I mean, it's time for a change of scenery for Adam Cole. You know, I think that people inside, people on the outside looking in, all saying the same thing to Adam, which is like, if you get moved to that main roster, man, it may not be good for you, right? Like, you're not exactly, you know, the no midgets, no guys in their 30s memo that Vince McMahon or somebody put out here not long ago. And hell, dude, like, we're going to talk about Kross's gladiator gimmick here in a little bit, but like, dude, like, how do you roll the dice and hope that on the other side of that wall is something that's going to benefit you in the long run? You know, I mean, you really run the risk of like watering down your value now, it would seem, by like going to the main roster. I mean, I know Keith Lee was dealing with medical stuff too, but even his booking since he's coming back has been lackluster at best. I would totally understand Adam Cole deciding it's time to maybe go somewhere else, considering the tone over at WWE at the moment.
Yeah, with Kross's new look, I'm fully expecting Adam Cole, if he went on the main roster, to debut as TL Hopper Jr.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Adam, I'm sorry, Rampage this Friday will not be live. It's going to be taped. That's right. They're taping both tonight in Milwaukee, I believe. So scratch the Adam Cole Rampage stuff. That's not going to happen. But maybe next Wednesday on Dynamite. I mean, they're going to come to Chicago here this coming Wednesday. We got. I think that Friday Rampage is also live here in Chicago, and then All Out is going to be on Sunday. I mean, it just really, the AEW Chicago, it never stops. It just continues going and going and going. So maybe next Friday on Rampage we'll get the Adam Cole signing. Who knows? You know.
I mean, it looks like Chicago is becoming AEW's home territory in the Midwest. And then you got they have Florida, and then they got Texas. It seems like they're kind of building pillars to their touring company.
Well, we have some input here from people about Adam Cole here. Let's see. Who do I want to start with here? We'll start with King Rail. AEW signing everyone. I feel sorry for the guys that have been there that are getting sidelined. You know, it does seem like if your name is not Darby Allin, MJF, or Jungle Boy, there's a chance that you're going to start that you're getting less time. Even like Orange Cassidy, for whatever reason, is kind of starting to fade a little bit to the back. Joey Janela was a stalwart from the beginning. he's getting replays on Dynamite of the cool stuff he did on Dark, right? Not exactly, main Wednesday night programming. I do wonder what kind of stories we're going to hear about how the internal politics of AEW shifts here as we drop a couple more big fish into this pond.
Yeah, I feel like Orange Cassidy and any baby face is really taking the biggest hit right now because it seems like the next guy's coming down the pike. We have Punk, we have Daniel Bryan, and possibly Adam Cole, who's probably going to babyface for a little bit. So it seems like a rough time to be babyface. Joey Janela, though, we might see him start to work against Punk and Bryan and be kind of that Dolph Ziggler type heel that's the gateway to AEW.
Yeah. Well, we have Phil here saying, I'd hold Cole until November. He'll get lost in the shuffle with Punk and Bryan. And Adam Cole is a big name, but he's not a Punk. He's not a Bryan. I don't know that you need to wait for, I don't know that he gets lost in the shuffle. It depends on what you do with him, right? Like how you want to introduce him. I don't know that you need to kind of sit on it, especially till in November. I would get right to it. I mean, this guy was just on NXT TV. I think the quicker you can kind of turn it around in that kind of situation is probably going to be the better. You look at Everrise, right? Now 2.0. Their ability to flip from NXT to AEW so quickly makes them feel cool. I don't know what exactly it is, about their leap, but I could see a little of that same energy coming with Adam Cole if he's able to turn it around so fast from NXT to AEW.
Oh, definitely. I mean, 2.0, you look at what they can do. I mean, these guys are 20-year veterans. Right. These guys know how to entertain, and Adam Cole knows how to entertain. So I do not doubt his ability to get over in spite of debuting around the same time as Punk, Bryan, and Ruby Soho. Do not doubt Adam Cole.
All right. Well, we also have here Fox Die of the 4 stars. AEW's on a hot run. They don't look to be slowing down anytime soon. Yeah, dude, it is a crazy time right now for AEW. And then we have here, I'll read Daniel Bryce. But see, Sean, this is responding to somebody. If AEW increases programming time, they'll be doing another thing they accused AEW of and oversaturating the viewers with too much. I mean, 3 hours, I think, is fine. 2 hour Wednesday night, 1 hour Rampage. It's, not quite to the excess of WWE. And they need more time right now to get all these people on TV. I think the thing that I'm maybe disheartened with the most by Rampage so far is that it doesn't really feel like there's anything to that show specifically, which is what Tony said that it would have, right? It just feels kind of like an extension of Dynamite. And the premiere was great. Punk's debut is huge. I don't really know what we're going to see from AEW Rampage here in the coming weeks, bite-wise. They're going to have to do something to get me to think that that's a must-see program, Brian.
That's a really good point, Nick. I haven't thought about that. You would think that Rampage being at a later time slot, they'd maybe go for a raw product or a little bit more of an adult-oriented product. Right. And they haven't quite gone there yet. But still early, still time to define the brand. So, let's see.
Well, as we're talking about Adam Cole potentially leaving NXT for AEW, PW Insider reporting that Johnny Gargano is now set to become the top heel for NXT moving forward. With Adam Cole now a free agent and Karrion Kross gone to the main roster for Raw, the plan is for Gargano to be positioned as the top men's division heel on the NXT brand going forward. It was noted that Pete Dunne, Roderick Strong are also going to be main players on the heel side. And on a related note, there's talk about Walter and his potential main NXT brand future coming out of TakeOver 36 and his loss to Ilya Dragunov. While Walter has stated in the past that he is not interested in moving to the U.S. to work just for special appearances here and there was significant internal talk of how the leader of Imperium needs to be on the main NXT brand on a consistent basis. So, couple things to take in. I'll start with the Gargano stuff, and we can talk about Walter in a little bit. Man, if you're looking for fresh programming, and you're thinking to yourself, if you're Adam Cole, do I stay here? Do I go to AEW and try to give myself a new coat of paint? Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano in the main event scene for NXT, I hate to say, I mean, but it's played out. Like these guys in that NXT main event picture, I'm burned, man. Like I don't know how many different ways you could spin Johnny Gargano at this point, and it doesn't seem compelling to me, main event wise, if I'm debating if I want to stay in NXT or not, to be having Johnny Gargano still as a top heel in NXT. And I feel bad saying that because I like Gargano, but just a little burned on him in the main event picture over in NXT.
I think that's very fair to say. And it's not Johnny's fault. He's doing everything he can. I feel like, this might be a good thing. I'm trying to look at the positives here. And it might be a good thing as NXT shifts towards more of a big man territory.
Right.
And so you look at maybe the heels are all smaller guys that are cheating. And then the big men are people who are doing things the right way. And it's just these little cheaters that are getting in their way. But man, the comedy stuff on NXT is wearing a little thin for me.
Yeah, the comedy stuff for sure. And I don't know that that's a great way to heat Gargano up for a top heel run either, is what he's been coming off of recently. He hasn't been imposing in some time, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, this is a guy whose nickname is Johnny Wrestling. And right. I think we need to be reminded of how dangerous he is in the squared circle. And most of what we're seeing right now is this silliness. That's weird.
I have a comment here. Let's see. Where was it? Oh man, wow, these are coming too fast. Okay. Phil, why is it you're burned on Gargano but not burned of top AEW guys yet? I think it's just because like Gargano has just been like for so long, like even like before they made the leap to TV to go head to head with AEW, Gargano was in that main event picture, and like him and Ciampa was really enjoyable. I've enjoyed him and Cole and stuff too, but like I've seen it, I've done it, and like, again, I just don't know how many times you could twist Gargano around to make him compelling. Over on AEW, you had a Moxley run for a year. Now it's been Kenny's time. They've done a good job of shuffling the focus, I feel like, in AEW, where like the top thing on the show isn't always the title, right? Like there is other stuff that AEW does that can be the main draw. Like Punk came back. It has nothing to do with the title. He's just a big thing. Jericho Gage, that main event of the show, had nothing to do with the title. It was about Jericho and MJF stuff, I think that AEW just does a better job of shuffling and giving stories to multiple people. So I don't feel like the main thing that I'm getting from their programming is always like the same 4 people, if that resonates,
Oh yeah. And Gargano was on top even before that. He feuded with Andrade. I mean, Come on, you guys, it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, Cody does a lot, but like sometimes the Cody thing is what is in the main event picture, right? Like Cody Brody, the TNT title has oftentimes been like the marquee thing for their programming.
Tag team wrestling.
And like, you can make a case that like the Bucks have, it's EVPs that hold these titles right now, have they been holding it for too long? That's a different kind of discussion, but they don't get all of the spotlight all of the time. AEW just does a better job of kind of pushing it around and going back to making Gargano kind of a central focus in the top of your product. It just feels like a step back to me. I wish they'd find something new and different to kind of sink my teeth into. And Walter, look, I get it, man. Like your home is in the UK and like you got your ring comp thing there. And I think he's got a school and he like does whatever. And he's very happy there. But like the UK is not what the North American scene is right now. And it is because of the pandemic and because of the slowed momentum. And if there's a chance here to like raise your profile, make some money, I think now take the time. I do take the leap. And I'm not Walter and I'm not in Walter's very big shoes. But if they want you and there's a push for you and there's an opening, take the shot. You're already under contract. I would do it. Keep your house in the UK for sure because you never know what's going to happen over there. But I would take the run. I'd rent a condo or something down in Florida and make the leap.
I wonder if Walter is remembering how quickly they jobbed him out to Drew McIntyre at Survivor Series. So maybe that rings in his mind a little bit.
And I get while we're talking about Adam Cole, I'm trying to see who put it. Man, again, just so many comments here today. I really appreciate it, making my job hard here to try to track down what everybody is saying. Okay, so Daniel Price here was saying in regards to Adam Cole, maybe he doesn't go to AEW. Maybe he goes to ROH and joins Taven and Bennett, reuniting the kingdom down there. You know, Maria Kanellis is there as well. I'm a big ROH proponent right now. I think they've got a really solid thing going. I think they've done a wonderful job rebuilding themselves, but they're not consistent right now, right? Like their live events are on and off. They're not on weekly TV. If you're an Adam Cole, and again, you're trying to capitalize on the momentum you have and make as much money as you can in the moment, man. And with all the all elite teases with Omega and the Bucks and the dead Adam Cole stuff, and you know his girlfriend but Baker is over there. It just seems like a layup. Sign a 2-3 year deal with AEW. Let this pandemic, hopefully, knock on wood, play itself out while that contract runs out, and maybe on the other side of it, see what the landscape looks like. But I don't see any other place for Adam Cole right now, other than AEW at the moment.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll see. So while we're talking NXT, man, we got some more NXT news here, some good and some bad. Well, first of all, NXT last night saw the return of Danny Burch. The opening bout on the post-takeover edition of NXT saw Ridge Holland defeat Timothy Thatcher in singles action. After the match, Ciampa came in to check on Thatcher, but Holland pushed him away. This led to Holland and Dunn brawling with Ciampa and Thatcher until Burch and Oney Lorcan, who had missed the past few NXT TV episodes, made the save. Dunn, Holland, Burch, and Lorcan ended up taking out Ciampa and Thatcher. WWE apparently did an injury angle here with Thatcher, which would be a way to temporarily write him off TV. And WWE did later announce that Thatcher is out indefinitely due to the attack by Holland. The segment ended with Dunn, Holland, Burch, and Lorcan standing tall together on the stage as Ciampa tended to Thatcher at ringside after Holland jabbed Thatcher in the throat with the weapon he carries. Burch had been out of action since he and Lorcan retained the NXT titles over Balor and Kross on the March 17th NXT TV episode. He suffered a separated shoulder in that match when Lorcan, took a double suplex from Kross and was forced to go on the shelf. So our big group of British baddies back together here. Happy to see Danny Burch back in the mix. Big fan. And I don't know what's going on with Thatcher. I don't know why they wrote him off, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why Timothy Thatcher needs to be off TV. But
you know, they're gonna make him Sheamus's best friend over on Raw, right? He's gonna start walking around like a street tough. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't get what's going on. And you know, the other thing is, it's like dude's in his 30s, right? The memo went out. Unless you're Adam Cole, and if you're getting written off TV right now, I don't want to put bad juju into the world. But how do you not sit at home and wonder, like, I mean, unless there's like but he didn't look injured. Came out and wrestled a match, Brian.
Yeah,
right?
It just made no sense to me. And I went back and rewatched it because I was like, did I miss something? No, I didn't.
Wow. Well, Dave and Thatcher's all elite, confirmed, right?
Oh, God.
Well, also last night on NXT, Carmelo Hayes, he won the 2021 NXT Breakout Tournament after defeating Odyssey Jones. After the match, Hayes was congratulated by NXT General Manager William Regal and presented with the contract that is good for a title shot against any NXT champion of his choosing. He did an interview afterwards where he said he didn't know who he wanted to challenge yet, but kind of cool. I like them creating a variation of the Money in the Bank contract to carry over into NXT and really makes this breakout tournament mean a little bit more. They didn't do this the last time they did the breakout tournament, did they?
Or the last breakout tournament, they did get a title shot.
Oh,
so
did
this
they?
is the second time they've done it.
I don't recall.
Unfortunately, the title shot ended pretty quickly, and you know it was a nice match, but it didn't really amount to a whole lot. But this match, I love this match. Carmelo Hayes, clearly a big star in the making. Odyssey Jones, big star in the making as well. And I think it's also awesome to show WWE's diverse talent group. AEW is kind of lacking in the diversity department right now. And, you know, hopefully with the hire of Mark Henry, who's an amazing recruiter, he can help bring in some more diverse talent. But, man, seeing two amazing athletes go one-on-one, and then the handshake of respect at the end. We didn't have to see some sort of weird heel turn or betrayal. It was just a great match that we could just enjoy some good wrestling. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, agreed, man. Agreed. And there's been, so last night was the first show, and they taped 3 weeks of programming here last night, which we will get to here in a second, because there's obviously another kind of story coming out of that. But, Nick Khan did this interview with Ariel Helwani where he said, in the coming weeks, you're going to see the product drastically change. Big reinvention of NXT. Did NXT feel reinvented last night to you, Brian?
No, it did not.
Felt exactly the same, did it not?
Yes. It felt like just a next week, on to the next.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see, is there going to be, what's going to happen? But I'm really invested in Carmelo Hayes and Odyssey Jones and Hit Row. There's some NXT stars that I really love, and I'm nervous that they'll get shuffled to the back.
Yeah. So I mentioned how there was another story coming out of these 3 weeks of tapings last night, and here it is. So WWE booted some fans from the tapings last night. Now, at least 2 fans were kicked out of Monday's NXT tapings for revealing live spoilers. One fan who wishes to remain anonymous says they were asked to leave the Capitol Wrestling Center at the Performance Center in Orlando, apparently because it was determined that they were tweeting live spoilers from the taping. The fan noted that they have been regularly attending NXT tapings and live events for the past few years and had to leave the taping without receiving a warning of any kind. Furthermore, Cassidy Haynes, friend of the show, of Body Slam, noted on Twitter that his correspondent was, quote, kicked out of the tapings. The writer was reportedly approached and told that a producer caught them on camera texting and that they were being watched for a while. The employee that approached the fan and asked them to leave also reportedly had a photo of the fan using their phone, apparently texting the spoilers. The correspondent noted that they were removed from the taping for, quote, potentially being a dirt sheet writer. This comes after longtime NXT fan and Wrestling Observer correspondent J.J. Williams revealed in late July that he was removed from the previous NXT TV tapings. J.J. noted then that security took a photo of his ID, had him delete tapings photos from his phone, and then escorted him off the property. It should be noted that multiple websites were still able to publish full spoilers from last night's TV tapings, which aired on the USA Network, including over on Wrestling Inc. If you want them spoilers, we got that sweet spoiler action over on Wrestling Inc. right now. So they love that. I don't really know how to feel about this, Brian. I want to hear how you feel first about the way WWE is handling the spoilers situation here.
Look, JJ's been covering NXT since the start. I love JJ's coverage, and the way that they treated him was really sad because I feel like JJ has encouraged people to be into the product. Yes, sometimes people are critical, but these wrestling sites that are reporting on NXT, they're doing it because they love wrestling. That's why we get into this. And we're here to talk about wrestling and highlight the wrestlers that we love, their performances, highlight the shows that we love, and their products. We love this stuff. And so to see someone like JJ get treated that way, and to see the folks working for Body Slam get treated that way, it makes me sad. And it also creates a dissonance because WWE was so kind to us SummerSlam weekend, and we were all there to cover everything, and we reported things that we didn't like. We did, criticize some things as we ate WWE catering. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
It was well, here's the thing. I mean, I get it, right? This is for the same thing for TV shows. People do, but you can go find spoilers for literally anything. One time, my girlfriend got mad at me, spoiled an entire season of Survivor for me. I will never, ever let her live that down. It was a mean thing she did. I love you, Liz. Okay. So anyway, it was so early in this. It was like 2 weeks into the season. I was like, great. Now I don't even need to watch the next 10 weeks. So anyway, spoilers are out there for everything. I just think it's short-sighted on WWE's part because at a time where they are desperately looking for that cool factor, nothing says creepy big brother like we are watching you with cameras on your phone. What an uncomfortable, like, you want to make the roster and the locker room feel uncomfortable. You've done a great job of that. Now you're going to go make your fans uncomfortable or like judge them or like, I mean, you're going to what? Scare them into acting the way you want? I mean, it just seems stupid. Like, those spoilers are going to get out there one way or another. This kind of like, you know, again, I get it. They're getting ready to go to Saudi Arabia. There's a certain way they want to treat journalists. You know, this is just, you know.
Now I realize why you guys sent me to SummerSlam and not you.
Well, I'm just saying, Brian. It seems a little authoritarian, you know. So anyway, DX Vex, it gives me Stranger Danger vibes. I agree, you know. And by the way, I think Vex, I think I saw your comment too that I live. Nope, it was somebody else. Nick still lives in his mother's basement. I don't. I have my own place. Anyway, back to this. I just think it makes them look so not cool to act like this towards people that want to be spreading the word about their product and engaging your core, hopefully, demo. I think I get their right to do it. I just don't think they should. Okay? That's how I feel about it. So, and yeah, John Davies here. Can't people just spoil after the show? Yes, they can. They can come home. They can type it. They can send us an email. newstips@wrestlinginc.com. You could definitely do that, right? No. Anyway, maybe the Saudi comment was a little stiff. I don't care. Hey. You want to play in the sandbox? That's fine. I'll jump in there. Let's make sandcastles.
Oh gosh.
So back to some WWE AEW news here. We'll move a little bit away from NXT. The Observer saying WWE President, Chief Revenue Officer Nick Khan was warned about AEW when WWE hired him. Khan was warned about what could potentially happen with AEW being competition to WWE on the same day he took the job with the company. Khan was reportedly warned by someone in the company about how everyone would tell him that AEW's competition didn't exist and that if WWE didn't make changes, then AEW would be caught up with them very soon as real competition. Khan was also reportedly told how everyone in the company will tell him none of the AEW competition stuff is true and that AEW competing with WWE is impossible. It would sound like they were giving him the Iggy, which, by the way, is letting him know that what we're saying out loud is not how we really feel, is what I took away from this story, Brian. Yes?
Yeah, it sounds like Nick Khan has a good friend.
Yeah. But it's true. It's totally true. And I don't get what game this guy is playing. I mean, I guess I do. I get the game. It's called capitalism. All right.
Yes.
It's playing the game of capitalism. But this guy doesn't seem to really have a pulse for the cool factor of pro wrestling. Right. I mean, when you got him going out there and Ariel Helwani's like, hey, fans would really like it if you took Raw back to 2 hours. And he goes, honestly, I think we should move it to 4. We could probably make more money. At a certain point, diminishing returns, right? Like, your model worked when you walked in the door because nobody had ever done it. But you keep running these plays, you're devaluing the company, right? Like, you want to do that sale? Fine. I think that they are just day by day as AEW gains traction and people start talking more and more about how WWE is losing their edge or losing their vibe or whatever, you're losing negotiating power. And at a certain point, you got to stop thinking with your pocketbook, start thinking with your heart. Does that sound too artsy fartsy? Right? Like, you got to give the people a little bit of what they're asking for, or at least act like you're listening to them and want to connect with them. Because right now I feel like he's just straight up trolling the pro wrestling universe at the moment.
Yeah, it feels like that's what WWE's been doing for the last 10 or so years. And it just keeps going. And, you know, the fans are going to eventually change the channel. They're not going to watch anymore. And that's what they're doing.
Right.
And if you keep doing this to people and you keep taking away their favorites, like at SummerSlam, I got to tell you, there were a lot of people there to see Sasha and Bianca.
Right.
And they were wearing the T-shirts. They had homemade signs. There was a great deal of enthusiasm for that match. And for that WrestleMania main event to get disrespected in the way that it was disrespected at SummerSlam, I think that really turned off a lot of those fans. And
yeah. And I'll say this, like, cheap plug for Pro Wrestling for Life with Sean Waltman, new episode out today. We just recorded it yesterday. And Sean is usually very coy when it comes to criticizing WWE. He's under a Legends contract, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely gotten calls from Sean where he's like, Nick, I really wish you hadn't said or done thing you did. But whatever. We're friends. It's business. He was very critical of the Sasha situation yesterday, talking about, and you can go listen to the show. It's out right now. Cheap plug again, all podcast platforms will be up on YouTube here in about 2 hours, but very critical. He said it's an old way of thinking, right? An outdated way of dealing with this situation. It was not the cool, new, hip way you could have done this. If you'd have removed Carmella, if you'd have made this a competitive match between Becky and Bianca, I think you would have had a very different situation. But the insertion of Carmella, bringing the crowd down, right? I've seen some people say, "Oh, she she brought him down so Becky could get the bigger pop." I think tampered Becky's pop, and then that quick bout pissed him off even more, right? And I know they want Becky to be heel, but this was a very inside baseball way of getting people to and not resent Becky, but resent like Vince and the booking, So anyway,
it's tough.
Thank you for bringing that up and making me upset, Brian.
Look, man, I had to witness it, and I went down to the 100 level to see what was going to happen because I knew something was going to go down, and I stood in the crowd with everyone because I wanted to feel what was going to happen. I knew something was up. And oh my God, that is a feeling that will stick with me forever. Just 45,000 people disappointed.
Bar Varuso here, world's worst entertainment. Damn, don't make that a shirt. They would probably not like that. We have AC Parker 13. LOL. How TF did they disrespect that Mania main event? Yeah, no kidding, man. We see some people at Rocky Paya agreeing with that WWE comment that was just made. Peter Curry here. WWE don't care about the fans at all. It's certainly starting to feel that way. They care about fans. They care if you're like 8 years or younger, right? Because that seems to be who they're marketing to, which is actually a good segue here about Karrion Kross's new Gladiator look. So Matt Min podcast saying WWE changing Kross's look for the Raw brand may have something to do with merchandise. They said everything and everyone must be marketable: toys, shirts, imaging, and accessories. You need to stand out to sell, and this is how they sell. And PW Insider saying, on a related note, Kross is now on the Raw brand full time. He's still on the NXT roster online, but word is he's 100% done with that company. He dropped the NXT title to Joe at TakeOver, and so anyway, he's full time with Raw now. Back to this. Here's a little guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. Named Stone Cold Steve Austin. Brian wore a pair of black trunks and a simple vest, right? Can you imagine if Vince was like, Stone Cold, you need to come out with bags of ice, right?
Oh my God.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, The Rock. We need to have, maybe you're pulling a boulder, push Atlas style, The Rock, right? Big rock, and you're going to be, more Athens, Greece look. Stupid, man. Like, looks do Nikki Ash, action figure, I get it, okay?
Yeah.
Looks sell, but looks do not sell like attitude, and people sell. People drive the merch. Those RK Bro shirts, not a huge Riddle fan. Love Orton. But those RK Bro shirts are everywhere. And Matt Riddle is not some gimmick. Matt Riddle is just Riddle. He's a badass stoner who wears pretty simple gear, doesn't wear boots, and the fans are into him. Like, this is not rocket science, Brian. I don't get, like, this gladiator look is the drizzling shits. It is the absolute worst thing I think they could have possibly done to Karrion Kross, and I hope they get rid of it very soon. And for that matter, I don't understand why Scarlett's not there either. They took something that was not broken and threw it on the ground. Brian. I'm in a mood today.
No, with good reason. With good reason, Nick. Look, if you're a wrestler and they try to cover your face, say no. Just say no. Don't let them cover your face, ever. Don't let them cover your face. That walk to the ring with him and his face covered, what the hell is that? What the hell is it? It just, they couldn't have just given him some cool pants or a chest protector to look like a gladiator. Russell Crowe in the movie Gladiator, he wore the hat for a little bit, but he wore that leather chest piece. Wear the chest piece to the ring, then take it off, show your awesome muscles, and then you get a pop from the ladies in the crowd. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
On the Gladiator note, by the way, there was another item that came out yesterday. Paul White was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet, I think, if I'm getting this correctly, and noted that he was offered a role in Gladiator, but Vince McMahon told him, I pay you to wrestle, not to act, and he had to turn down a role in Gladiator. He was supposed to be in that movie. And thinking about how the Big Show could have been in Gladiator, I mean, would have been dope and huge for him. And that's crazy to me that like Russell Crowe and I think Nicolas Cage, his kid is a fan of Big Show, and like Nicolas Cage helped broker this arrangement where Big Show could be in the like Russell Crowe movie. And I don't know, just another little random Gladiator tidbit for everybody out there.
And that movie won Best Picture, by the way. So Big Show could have been in Best Picture. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Right. That sounds right.
And so, if you wonder why Sasha leaves to go do Mandalorian, that's why.
Well, and with Scarlett, like the stories we were hearing about why she wasn't on TV was Kross was going to lose, and then Scarlett was going to come back and help him find his inner gladiator, become dominant. That doesn't seem to be the case, Brian. This man is winning. He is winning decisively, and there is no Scarlett to be seen. I wonder if when they had Scarlett do the dark match, where they had her separate from Kross like a month or 2 months ago or something like that, and everyone was like, what is going on right now? I'm wondering if they just didn't like her wrestling. I'm not, Scarlett is a very beautiful woman, very nice person. I think that her wrestling has always kind of been the thing that people are like iffy about, right? She doesn't quite move like an aggressive wrestler type, but that is a really dumb reason to get rid of such a huge part of the act that was really helping to sell and solidify Kross, and that's the only thing I could think of right now for why they would have gotten rid of her and removed her.
Yeah. And then even then, it's still a terrible reason. I mean, come on. Like, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. I can't believe anyone thinks this is a good idea. And I feel bad because I'm sure they really thought about it. But they're wrong. They're wrong. And they're ruining this dude. They make him look like a joke. And also, this marketing to kids bunk, I want to talk about this right now.
Okay.
The Raw demographic. What is the top demographic for Raw? It's older people. It's people over the age of 35 right now. That's who's watching this show. So if they're marketing to children, kids aren't watching.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. It blows my mind. Kids aren't watching. Why do you keep marketing to people who aren't even watching the show?
All right. Lastly here, before we get to Lacey Von Erich, and then we're going to dive into the mailbag, we're going to talk about Edge and Raw. Extra. Caught up with Nikki Bella. She was asked why she didn't watch John Cena's match at SummerSlam because she tweeted out, I wasn't, when you don't get to go to SummerSlam, whatever it was. She says, I actually have to say when you're in Vegas, the tables took me away. I was too busy playing roulette and I was winning big, so I missed it. Do you believe it? Do I don't believe that for a second. What do you?
Of course not. Of course not. I love Nikki Bella in Honey Badger mode right now. I love her airing her criticism of the Bianca Becky match. I love let's find out more about what Nikki really thinks.
All right, Brian, I want to thank you for joining me at the top of the show, talk all the news today. Thank you to, the lively comment section here today. Tons of new listeners and viewers every day. You guys are so wonderful. And if you liked the show, of course, go over to our iTunes page, over any podcast page, leave a nice comment review. That stuff is really, really helpful, and we sincerely appreciate your patronage and support. So if you want to support the show, at Wink Daily, WINC Daily. That's the account to follow. We are over 1,200 followers now. We are on the road to 1,300 followers. Give us a follow. Become one of those very special people that follows us over on Twitter. Today's poll question, who on the Raw roster would you like to see Edge feud with? And this story, this poll question is stemming from the story that says WWE Shop now listing Edge as a Raw superstar in certain sections of the website. Could be an indication he's going to be switching from SmackDown to Raw. Of course, I think we're like a month-ish away from the draft, so maybe it'll happen then, maybe before. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. Anyway, what do you want to? Who would you like to see Edge feud with if he does come to Raw?
Obviously.
Let me read the poll results first, Brian. So we have Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Damian Priest, and somebody else. Those are the choices I gave. I just picked 3 top stars. I didn't really think too hard about it. 32.4% said Drew McIntyre, 29.5% Bobby Lashley, 24.2% Damian Priest. So really only an 8% difference between all 3 of those names. And then 13.8% said somebody else. So on that, Brian, who do you want to see Edge feud with over on Raw?
I mean, dream match is AJ Styles, but I also would love to see Edge feud with some younger stars and someone like Keith Lee or Riddle even.
Yeah, Keith Lee, Riddle. I see like AJ Styles Edge is the dominant write-in here. I think the one that got the most likes was from at Ben OD 1317. AJ Styles, it's not even close. Time for Styles to get back into a huge one-on-one feud. And hard to argue, right? Yeah. I do like this write-in, though, from the Buscat. Brood Edge versus Damian Priest would be lit, would be fire. I agree with that.
Oh, so good. Yeah. Man, I'm so high on Damian Priest. What a tremendous talent. I'm so excited to see what he keeps doing. He keeps growing, and, man, I had a great chat with that guy.
Yeah. Well, at JT098, Kross. Maybe that's the thing to get Kross back on the path. Maybe a feud with that. Right?
Yeah, that would be great, actually.
I see one here from A. O'Donnell, 025, Riddle. He's kind of put over, kind of in the tag division right now. He's a little busy over there, but down the road, sure. Why not? I think I'm sold. I think it's overwhelming. AJ Styles, right? AJ Styles Edge would be the one program everybody wants to see. I think you keep AJ and Omos together. There's no reason to have those two break up. You just keep Omos as more of the bodyguard type behind AJ as the muscle, and he could be the big thing that Edge has to get through on the road to AJ Styles. I don't have any. I like those two together. I don't want to break up Omos and AJ.
And maybe AJ could befriend a younger wrestler that could be like his heater to take on Omos.
Okay. By the way, I guess Edge and Stank Boy here. Edge versus Styles call back to the 2019 Rumble. Did Edge eliminate Styles in the Rumble on the way to his win? What was that? What happened there?
They did face off, but I'm not sure if he eliminated him.
Okay. Well, anyway, you can let us know.
But it was a hot face off.
Yeah, I think he did, but I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. It's okay. All right, everybody. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to the show today. We're about 10 minutes away from the Lacey Von Erich interview premiering over on the Wrestling YouTube channel, so go check that out. Thank you, Lacey, again for the time, and go support SWE. Go to SWEfury.com to learn more about them. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be joined by Paul Pratt. It's been too long. It's been 2 weeks. Last week we did the pre-tape SmackDown SummerSlam preview, so a lot to catch up with on Paul tomorrow. Same for Christy on Friday, so very excited about both those shows. On tomorrow's show, Andy Malnoski. He chatted with the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame president, Seth Turner, ahead of the big induction ceremony this weekend, which I will be at. So very exciting to hear from Seth, some updates about Terry Funk, some other memorabilia they're tracking down. I mean, they're going to build a physical Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Albany, New York. That's the plan. Very excited about it. And so you're going to get to hear from Seth tomorrow. I also chatted with Seth yesterday, I think, as we're getting ready to go out there. And he reminded me that Virgil will be in attendance. So maybe we'll get a follow-up to the meat sauce extravaganza interview that everybody really liked from a month ago. Well, maybe a little more Virgil content. We'll find out. And of course, we like the Wrestling Inc. Daily Sport, WrestlingInc.com. We're on all your socials. The Wrestling Inc. podcast goes live at night after the big shows, just like this show right here. Tune in, check that out. It's on all the podcast platforms, just like the Daily. Brian, what do you want to put over here to wrap up the show today?
Well, if you've ever wondered what happens to you when you try everything on the Outback Steakhouse menu, you can go to the Try Guys YouTube channel and see my good buddy Keith Habersberger try every single item on the Outback Steakhouse menu, and I joined him to help at least eat the burgers, which were all bad.
Wow. And like Outback Steakhouse pays you guys to do this, right?
We were not paid by Outback Steakhouse, but Keith's sponsors did pay us to do it. So
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they love the fact that you sat there, ate all their food, and was like, this burger is dog shit.
Outback didn't sponsor it, but other folks do, that we are able to bring honest criticism to the food that we taste.
I watched the Olive Garden mukbang that you did, and yeah. Anyway, go support that. Go watch it. I ate the CM Punk ice cream bar on Monday, and everybody was telling me I did a mukbang, and I was like leaning into it. I'm like, this isn't a mukbang. I'm just eating ice cream, right? What Keith does, that's a mukbang, right?
Yeah. I mean, by the end of the videos, he's usually quite delirious and ill.
I think that Keith should tackle eating every food item from all of the arenas that WWE runs, just to kind of get a vibe of like what arena food is like from city to city. I'm kind of, I don't know. I was thinking about y'all for whatever reason as I was sitting in the United Center watching Rampage, and I was like, oh, this is it's a pretty good burger. I wonder what it would be like if somebody ate all the food at this arena.
Allegiant Stadium had some good food too. Unfortunately, they couldn't sell it for a while, so they had to give it away.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I heard about that. We talked about that on Monday. Very unfortunate.
Oh, that was bonkers. What a mess.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I am at Nick_Hausman on Twitter. I will talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss